Okay, I will show you how to link stages and characters to scripts that you've created in StableGen, and then also how to link the specific generated image assets for those characters and characters and stages when you're actually trying to generate the frames for your videos. So we've created this script here called borrowed time, and it created a few characters or four characters here. So you see characters, and then here are the stages for this is for the entire script. You can see it's a real short story here, 5 scenes. This is called the format is nano drama. So it's super fast, 30-second story. Anyway, so you can see here you have an option then with a new character. You can either create it, and this will trigger you into this view here where it will pre-populate the description, the name, and then you can add the file. I will show you that in a second. You can choose an existing character from a drop-down. So you can see, and then once they're linked, then you can see it here. You have it linked. And so I have Dr. Harris already existing, so I can just link Dr. Harris. And now I'm free to use him. If you wanted to create a new one, like I said, you could create new, and then you add this file. I will show you one thing here. I really like using Google Whisk for creating. I know Midjourney is really cool, and people really like that. I think it's great. Google Whisk is totally free, so you can just take these descriptions that are generated by StableGen, drop them in here, and it's completely free. So, this is a good option. Obviously, use, whatever service you like. But that is what I've been leaning on lately. Because all this stuff does add up, and it's nice to at least be able to get these free. And this is one of the reasons I didn't add it into StableGen, at least to start something like this creative flow, is because it's totally free, and I think it's done really well here. So there you go. So now I have the base image. Now we've got Maya created. We can select her, and then obviously you can come in here and you can create your. I think it's a vertical drama that I'm making. So you can come here. Obviously, pick all the generated asset options that you like. Okay, so now we're back at borrowed time. Let's refresh. So our drop downs have Maya in there. Now we can come down and we can add Maya, and now she is available in the for the frame generation process. Come down here. Here are all the stages. I don't have any of them linked. I think the first scene I did make this already. Yeah, hospital exam room. And so I think I can go now to the first scene. All right, so now what I've done here is, all right, so now you're in the scene detail view, right? So these are the shots for the scene. Just, think about any scene in a movie or TV show. You're cutting between shots, and these shots tend to be really short, 1 second, 3.3 seconds, And again, you can change all this timeline stuff. You can edit it and generate these shots to be more custom. Maybe you want them longer because, these super short shots sometimes actually I think are a little tough with, AI generation. But if this is the feel, like this is how a real professional shot scene is going to look. Okay, so now you have check boxes all here because Evan, Dr. Harris, and the hospital room, they're all available. Oh, I have to generate an asset for the hospital room. I see. Okay, so we'll go here. We'll go keep it 4K. I don't know why I'm doing 4K in this example. It's just making everything slower. Oh, I have this formatting script job that's slowing everything down. Sorry. Anyway, so what we do here is we select, so you look at the actual scene. What's here? We have wide framing to capture the entire room of both characters and context, emphasizing the sterile environment. Dr. Harris standing near the examination table, Evan sitting quietly, both framed. Okay, so we could create a seated picture for Evan, but I think right now we'll just use what we've got. Dr. Harris is standing, but we have to wait. We have to generate an asset for him as well, and I'm not going to go with a 4K anymore to keep things going a little faster. And let me check this job here. I can't cancel the job mid-flight, so we're basically going to have to deal with this for now. Yeah, so, all right. Apologize for this slowness here. Okay, so this is how you're selecting assets. I mean, maybe even this alone will be enough. So you see, you have Dr. Harris. Once his asset is generated, it'll have a similar UI. I'll be able to pick that asset, and the same thing with the hospital room. There will be a grid of, all the assets you generate. So, I think that the lesson here to me is that instead of generating a whole bunch of assets for a character, I think it's better to just go shot by shot, because I think you're going to be able to reuse one asset a lot. And, everything costs money. So let's, you want to try to conserve. You might as well reuse your assets as much as possible. And there's a lot of direction in here that's getting sent into this pipeline to create the frame, where it's really placing everybody and positioning them and all these things. So, I think we can hopefully save some money by not generating a whole bunch of assets up front. So the idea is you select all these assets, and then you can generate the frame. One other piece here is there's a reference frame. So right now there are no frames in this scene, but once a frame is generated, the reason this is here is, let's say you're generating the last frame. You can give the first frame now as a reference image, and it's basically just there for the lighting and other consistency type of things, So that's the idea. And then even though when you go to another shot, you can still use these reference frames from the previous shot, because you're still in this hospital room. It still makes sense to use as a reference frame. So anyway, let's see where we're at with these. That's almost done. So let's see if this has got created. Yes, and I should have just had these before. I don't know. I didn't need to generate one for Maya, I don't think, with this, and that's a little problematic, Maya, with her child. If I was doing this for real, I would probably have to change that prompt a bit. Okay, so now refresh. Now we're cooking. So I like this picture for Evan. I obviously just only have these two. And now you see, right, if I deselect, I can't click this. So you got to click all of the necessary assets, because what it's doing, it's compositing. It's compositing these two characters into this scene. Generate the frame. And when it's done, it should be, these three guys. And here's, Evan sits in a chair, frame left, looking at Dr. Harris standing, frame right. And again, if you're passing the reference image, so, we'll see, or the reference frame, that can also help with the actual positioning of the characters and everything. But there's going to be movement too. So, potentially there's movement. Like if, let's say Evan sits on chair frame left looking at Dr. Harris frame right. And then at the end of the scene, or of the shot, maybe Dr. Harris has actually walked over, So the reference frame may or may not assist in creating the positioning. But there you go. And that's it. That's how you do it. So I'm going to refresh. Same thing. Now we can use this as a reference. Although, I honestly, I feel like this would probably be, we're supposed to describe it too. That's right. So you can save that there. You can add a little description and then generate the last frame. So the idea now is then you have your first frame, you have your last frame. You may not even necessarily even have to generate this. I think a lot of these shots are so short because they really are realistic, You can just sort of take the first frame and, copy this into your clipboard and then go into your, video generator of, whatever one that you like to use. Now, and if you want, you can have a first and last frame because sometimes, as you learn making these AI videos, sometimes you really need to have a first and a last frame. Maybe the character starts with their back to the camera and then they turn and face the camera. Things like that. Obviously, you definitely need a first and last frame, but we don't always, need them. I just wanted to show you, sort of walk you through how all these things work.